on. Gonna be a bumpy ride. Yeah. Welcome everyone. It's Friday night, and here we have a fantastic episode of List Off the Judgement. Here we are. Joining me today is my co-host Ryan. I'm Brynley from AUSHAMMER. Ryan, how's it going?
Crack-a-lackin', everybody. Good to see you all on a Friday instead of a Monday. It's a bit different. Tonight isn't our usual AUSHAMMER. It's the Judgement Day for round one of List Off. And tonight we're joined by some of Australia's
finest.
Some of Australia's best. Nobody get big heads over that. All right, I can see you all watching, smiling when I said best.
Welfare.
I can cut it out. Luke Taylor, we've got Liam, we've got Christopher, and we've also got Clint here, and of course Brynley, but nobody cares. So, gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
Luke.
Oh, I'm first. Okay, sorry. So I'm Luke Taylor. I play predominantly Chaos. Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's themed Chaos. Mostly Clan Scryer, I guess, this year. Past year I've played. Yeah, I'm from Brisbane, Wellington Point. I'm part of the Redland City Wargamers. Yeah, that's about it, I guess, for me.
Hey, I'm Liam. I play predominantly Sylvaneth, but also have a Flesh-Eater Quartz collection that I've played a few times or at tournaments. I am based in Sydney, and I am part of the Clan Filth group, which is just a bunch of dudes who just play Age of Sigmar, and we just travel and play tournaments. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. So me, I'm Chris Welfare, main host of Mortally Wounded podcast. You can check us out on Facebook or follow me on Twitter at Wounded Mortally if you want. Normally focusing on kind of the more competitive side of match play, I guess, of Age of Sigmar. My main armies are Stormcast Eternals and Sylvaneth, but I pretty much have everything unless it's a Grot or a Dwarden or a human. I'm pretty sure I have everything else. So I've been playing Order mostly this year, and I think next year will be the year of Chaos. So.
Okay, I guess that leaves me. So Clint from the Heralds of War podcast. I'm pretty sure we were the first Australian one. I'm from Toowoomba, play mostly Death, Manfred in it. I also organise a bunch of events on the eastern coast of Australia, CanCon next year, which talked about. But you can find us on Facebook at the Heralds of War, and also the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Australia Facebook group is also one that I run as well. So
Busy man. Busy blooming man, all right. I'll tell you. So basically what we've got is just a whole bunch of Australians and one prisoner of Her Majesty. So I don't know how tonight's going to go, really. But gentlemen, it's a new tradition that we've started up. It's a new game, and before we get into the judging, we're just going to go skip ahead a little bit and kind of decide the first challenger for round two. Now, that's going to be one of you lot. So I'm sorry in advance. Liam, I don't think it's going to be you, mate, because word on the street is you'll probably be the shittest at this game. Sorry, man. It's the haircut. What can I say? I'm probably just going to pick on you for a large
So it's just because
It's because he can't see. There's too much hair in his face.
I can write a solid list.
I mean, I've got.
I just
like-
look at the PGA.
You like kind of just wear it out.
Oh, God.
What do you think bullied? It's only been out for like 10 minutes. God.
All right, so I don't know if anyone, did we introduce Liam? He's the Australian Napoleon Dynamite. He'll be joining us tonight as well. But no, so it's Guess That Booty, however, with a twist. So tonight I'm going to show you guys a bunch of plastic bums, and what I need you to do is using your name as a buzzer, so call out your name when you see the picture of the bum and know what model it belongs to. There's going to be all 4 of you in this, so the person with the lowest amount of points at the end will be the contender for round 2. Do you all accept the challenge?
I'm so boned.
I'll be keeping score.
What if we forget our name though, like for the buzzer?
Can I be Clint?
If anybody forgets their name, just use Brynley's.
Awesome.
Yeah, just go. Oi, shithead.
Oi, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, Oi's pretty Australian, but I may.
That's an Australian thing when people say oi.
Yeah,
Oi.
If you can say your names, if you can't, you're probably going to miss out on a point. There's 10 bums in total. Okay, so it's really going to be down to the wire for this one, and I've made it strictly AOS for this event. Brynley, I'm really sorry. There will be no 40K. If you just want to shut up and sit in the corner and cry over it, that's fine. I understand, buddy. I'm really sorry.
I'm just gonna go beat my dick over there.
It does look like you're wearing a black condom on your head. That's saying. All right. So, without further ado, let me just find the bloody window.
He spent all day doing this, guys. So looking at pictures.
Not all day. Most of like the 10 minutes I had at home.
Most of the day.
All right. Gentlemen, are we ready?
Yeah.
Oh,
Luke, are you ready? Because I know you've got a like a hamster on a wheel for your internet connection at the moment.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Here we go.
Dorito graphics go.
Guess that booty, gentlemen.
Oh,
Oh, crap.
It's off as soon as someone talks. Oh, where is it?
Can you lock it in, Ryan?
I'm gonna.
Oh, there we go.
How's that?
Oh.
Is it
Chris,
Liam? Fuck.
Well,
Chris.
Chris, you're up first, buddy.
I'm going to go with a Volkite Berserker.
I hate you.
Oh,
So,
does he get it?
Find out after these messages.
Dun, dun, dun.
No.
No, I actually had Hearthguard Berserker.
Yeah, that's a Hearthguard Berserker.
yeah, tough card.
What's the ruling, Ryan?
aren't they the same kit?
What's the difference?
No, they're a different kit.
They're a
Oh,
different.
okay.
Yeah.
Chris, you stuffed up.
Oh, you fucked
Damn it,
it.
Chris.
He just
You had one
doesn't
job.
know his dwarf butt.
I honestly, stunty butts, they all do look the same though.
I got half of it. I got Berserker. I just got one cheek.
I'll allow it.
Half a point? I'm going to say half a point.
half a point.
Point to Liam and
He did somewhat recognise the ass. So, all right, gentlemen, are you ready? Number 2.
0.5 to each.
Yeah.
Guess that booty.
Luke,
Liam.
Luke?
Go, Luke.
is that a witch elf?
But what one? Liam, Sisters of Slaughter?
Yes. Liam, 1 point.
Liam, 1 point.
Yep.
Oh, that's hard because that is the same kit. It's technically the
It
same
looks
boot.
like everybody's
Hang
mother-in-law
on,
from
it's
the
the
front.
color scheme, okay?
Dang, that's coming out of it.
All right. Now, just because we are into single digits, Brynley, are you okay still counting, buddy?
Yeah, I've still got it.
All right.
Liam's.
Okay, you
ahead.
tell me once it gets hard, mate. All right, you run out of fingers, you tell Uncle Ryan. Here
I've
we
got
go.
my shoes, mate. I just take my shoes off and count my toes.
All right, number 3. Guess that booty, boys.
Chris,
Liam.
Chris,
I want to say
If you
that
if you get this wrong, I'll be pissed.
it's a Dryad, but I think it's the old original branch wraith.
It's the original
Branch
Dragon.
Wraith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Right,
you
who
got
got
that
that?
wrong, I would can't
So
speak
that was a point for Chris.
Oh,
All right, here we go, gentlemen. Clint, you're very quiet there, by the way.
I'm just Clearly, I'm not good at looking at plastic butts.
That is contrary to what everybody else told me, but okay. Here we go, gentlemen. Guess that booty.
Liam.
Clint.
No.
Ah,
What, Liam?
Is it a assassin?
Oh.
Touche.
Shadowblade.
Is that,
It's
isn't
an
that what it is?
assassin. That's an assassin.
Yeah.
It's an assassin.
God, I'm good.
So that's a point for Liam there.
Oh.
Here we go, gentlemen. Guess that booty.
Chris,
Clint.
Like-
Oh,
Chris?
it's the Glockin, right?
Ooh.
how many
One
other
second
miniatures have a
over.
butt flap?
Yeah.
It's a pretty detailed butt flap as well, actually. I don't know if any of you guys have painted this model, but I have one on my shelf that I didn't paint myself because I'm a terrible person and got somebody else to do it. But it looked very complex and difficult.
I do like he's got a bit of a bit of plumber's crack at the top though, just for
Yeah,
effect.
just that little bit there.
Yeah, just that little bit.
And what's worse is there's no excuse because look at those eyeballs. He knows. He can see that crack. He just doesn't care. And that's the worst. Look at this eye here. He's actually got ass on his eye. That's not what you want touching your eyeball.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a handsome fellow.
Normally have to pay for that stuff.
We're halfway through, Brynley. Who's winning?
It's a tie between Liam and Chris.
Ooh, all right.
Surprising no one.
No.
Please, somebody beat Liam. All right, here we go.
Why?
That booty, gentlemen.
Liam.
Liam took it. What was that? Sorry?
Demon Prince.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Wonder Liam.
How do I know this?
All right.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself some serious questions there.
Clint, I think after this, we're going to have to hold it like an intervention and just force you to look at plastic minis for days before you're allowed
But
to
just
cast
their,
again. Yeah,
just their butts.
yeah, just their
Just-
butts.
Yeah.
Just
All
their
right, here we
butts.
go. Guess that booty.
Liam.
Chris.
Liam.
Oh.
Is that the... Oh, shit. I'm just going to say Bloodletter.
Anybody else want to take a guess because Liam just got
I
it
want
wrong?
to say it's a Bloodmaster Herald of Corn.
That one.
Correct.
You got that?
right then?
Fuck you, Chris.
That was
Who was that? Was that Chris? Was that you?
Chris. Yeah.
Yeah. Chris
All
got
right.
that one.
Here we go. Guess that booty.
Liam.
Oh,
Oh.
Liam.
Bloodletter. Yeah, there we go.
Good work. Good work. I should have randomized those two better. All right, here we
Yeah,
go.
Terrible.
Guess that booty.
Liam.
Oh.
That's an Iron Jaws Brute.
Correct.
Yeah.
Erroneous.
Oh.
Clint, you've got to get one, mate. You've got to get one.
I just clearly I'm not quick enough.
All right.
Just
all
yell
right.
out your name and then take some time to think about it.
Yeah, clearly that's what everybody else is doing.
While
Yeah.
we're on here, though, I'd just like to point out that while I absolutely hate all of the destruction forces, and I'll probably never own an army, this mini is fucking awesome.
Yeah,
What's
the
my-
Iron Jaws are sweet.
Yeah, all the Iron Jaw stuff looks
Have you
so
looked-
good.
Have you looked at the Gore Grunters?
I can't do it. I don't know. It's like
Those piggies are beautiful.
no, I love all their minis. I think all the orc minis are great, but I can't do the army for some reason. I think it's all those memes of the shooting phase in 40k for the greenskins that did it for me.
Yeah.
But it is an awesome mini. Okay, guess that booty. There's
Liam.
actually two here.
Liam, I said Liam, Sisters of the Fawn.
For an
Did I get it
extra
wrong?
point. What is she writing?
You're running a deer.
Is that 2 points?
Yeah, give the bastard 2 points. God damn.
I feel like there's so much hate against the emo.
It's not.
Because
It's
you
not
keep jumping
hate.
in.
It's more like a deep-seated loathing, I think. But what we're really missing here is the fact that Clint, you didn't even get one. You will be competing in.
I shouted for that one. Liam.
Yeah, to be fair, Liam just said
was
the answer.
quicker.
No, I'm
Did
pretty sure
Luke get
Liam
any?
was the third
Yeah,
person.
but it's like you were like it was like Liam, Luke, Chris, and then you're just like, wait for it, Clint.
After the answer.
Yeah.
Bloodthirster, Clint.
All right, gentlemen. So that's guess that booty.
All right,
I'm glad we
so,
got that out of the way.
so our contender is going to be Clint. That what we're
Our contender is going to be Clint.
Okay.
So
You might as well just give it to the other person now.
Oh! Oh!
I didn't want to say
Wow.
it.
This shit
Just
got
'cause
real quick.
Yeah,
We
but-
haven't even started discussing the list yet, and you're already tearing the poor bastard to shreds, mate.
Right, I can tell
Wait,
you. Ready?
everybody's
Leader, Manfred,
praying
Rob.
for you.
White Knight or whatever, White King. Zombies. Some Morgoths. Tell me if I'm getting any wrong, by the way, Clint.
Clint, you're not restricted to the shitty death armies that you have at your house.
Okay,
Oh.
I don't know what to say.
When I came on this program, I was told it was nice and lovely. I obviously hadn't watched any of your other stuff, clearly.
You know what
I shouldn't make fun
That's
of
a
them too
lie.
much
I
because
watched it.
Clint, you know
I'm
what
building a
happened?
death army myself, and but I'm going with skeletons, not zombies. So, but no, you're not limited to what's in your collection. So you can. It's basically theory hammer, mate. So if you want to field a force full of Teletubbies, then that's entirely up to you.
Should
I'm
just
sure
get
Chris would love it.
Chris is all about theory hammer.
All right, so
That
Now that
sad
we've got-
shake of the head there, Chris. That was hilarious.
So now that we've got that out of the way and we've got our contender, let's talk about the contenders for this round. So we had Tom from Warhammer Weekly come on, and he's going up against Paul Conti, Mathhammer himself. Both of them are American boys, and I think we all feel the same about Americans, but we have to put those judgments aside for tonight and judge them fairly and equally on just their list.
Yep, because that's going to
So that
happen.
you can talk. You're named after like the whitest American rapper ever to have walked the earth. Brynley.
Bryn Shady. Yeah.
Vanilla Ice.
I thought that was just a bad dream. So
If
what
you're
we'll
going
do
with
is we'll
white,
go in
that's how
order.
you'd go.
We'll go in order of appearance. So Paul was first on, and he's just messaged me and said that at any time he may just pop on and try to convince you all that his list is the bomb diggity. Meanwhile, Tom has told me that he won't be able to jump on and convince you all that his list is the bomb diggity because I do believe they're on their way to a tournament at the moment. So
Sounds like
basically,
an excuse.
if Paul comes on, you can't really listen to him too much because it would be an unfair advantage.
Everyone just mute him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I'm not with these guys, Paul. I don't know what they're talking about. I can't stop them. All right. So let's have a look at Mr. Conti's list to begin with. Bear with me 1 second. Now, this is his list. I'm pretty sure you can all see that now, yes?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So I'll quickly run through it, and then I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. He's gone with his with a free guild list. Anybody who knows Paul knows that he's a free guild fanatic from way back. So he's got the general on Warhorse. He's got the general on Griffin as well, which is basically just a slightly stronger version, in my opinion. He's then got two great companies. One is full of guards with sword and shield, great swords and handgunners. The other one is guards with swords and shields, guards with halberds as well, and handgunners. So he's obviously got a bit of a thing for handgunners there, and I can't blame him. They're pretty good. And then he's backed that up with an ally because they're no longer part of Empire or Free Guild or Free Peoples anymore. They're separate. The Celestial Hurricanum, which is a really, really expensive piece, but it really does buff the shit out of his two great companies. It's got that wizard on there for the spells, and it does a fair whack of damage as well. He comes in square at 2k, so he won't be getting anything for coming in at 1990. Yeah, that's the free guild list. So, gentlemen, take it away. We'll start with you, Clint.
My thoughts on it.
Yeah.
When I was watching the discussion with Paul and reading the list, I thought, I don't quite get the Hurricanum. Like, I know he's got lots of handgunners there that are going to do the job, and but I do think that the points there could be spent a bit better, alloying in some artillery or something.
Oh yeah, so what, like a cannon or something?
I don't know about cannon, but probably I think, yeah, it's hard to go past the Hellstorm as far as, like, if you're going to keep the free guild kind of theme that he's got running, that's guys manning a gun. That's pretty cool. A cannon would be quite good as well. And I think you can sneak those two in under the points.
So I think a cannon's 180 and the I think the rocket
no, they're both
battery
180. Yeah.
And
so
the rocket batteries are 180 as well, but I believe the cannon, the Hellfire cannon thing, is what, 120 or something?
No, you wouldn't take a Hellblaster. You'd probably just take a Dwarf cannon. That's probably the change I'd make. I do like the way that the great companies are structured. I love great swords. It's possibly a shame that he couldn't make a unit of 30 though. I like big units of great swords. Yeah, overall, I think it's quite a nice list if you're like for a free guild list.
Yeah. So I guess the other thing as well is to note that when we look at the two lists, we're looking at it. These two lists are played by two people of equal skill and knowledge on a 6x4 with your standard terrain. There's no special win conditions. There's no strategic points. It's just a last man standing sort of thing. So yeah. So just wrapping up yours, then you think the two great companies are okay, but more great swords would have been better, and switch out that Hurricanum for a dwarf cannon or just some of the Iron World Arsenal stuff instead to keep it more thematic? Or
yeah, I think, and if it's going to be last man standing, yeah, his units are possibly a tiny bit small for that. Like, I know that Free Guild can get some really good battle shock protection, but they just feel small if you're wanting to stick around.
Yeah. Yeah, they will get some protection from the general and due to them being in a company and stuff. But yeah, I think you might be right there too.
Yeah. Cool.
Luke, what about you, buddy?
I actually like the idea of the Hurricanum just because the other bonus to hit that you get from the general anyway. And yeah, so I guess it just makes it easy with all that shooting and the bonus from the great companies. I actually kind of like it. I do think that it would struggle against lists that could just sit back out of its range and continue to shoot it, or lists that could teleport on to a point. If you take out like the smaller support units first, then that bonus from the great companies isn't really there anymore. So you shoot them off and then charge the big units.
So do you mean something like the Vanguard Wing Stormcast 30 lib block just smashing straight in there, or are you talking more like teleporting space geckos?
Well, yeah, any of that really, or even Clan Scryer, anything that can just sort of go, yeah, I'm now here.
Yeah.
Anything that can teleport, tunnel, yeah. I think it would struggle against, and long range shooting, I think as well. Like even Skyfires would give that list a bit of trouble. But I do kind of like the idea around it, and I do like the theme. But yeah, I actually prefer the Hurricanum to probably more shooting, to be honest, because I think it's just making the shooting he's got better. So that's my general idea, I guess.
Yeah, and I think along with that shooting, he's also got the Storm of Shem tech there, yeah?
Yeah.
Or the Comet of Cassandora.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. All right, cool. Cool. Liam, what about you, bud?
I like the list. Like having a read through of like what the Great Company does and everything is really good. I understand like the synergy around it. The thing with the Hurricanum is it's getting them all really the army type fit in deployment. So pretty much the whole army will just be in one zone. So they won't be getting like they'll just be all in one zone. So your opponent can literally just bubble wrap, like pretty much wrap around them and just take them out. Pretty much what Luke said with the shooting. Like if there was another army with like long range shooting, like Sylvaneth popping up in the woods, and then you have Cone of Hunters with bows, just like going nuts, taking down what they need to take down, like the General and Griffin, and or the Hurricanum taking down the wounds. So then his army has to like getting closer and closer. But I like the theme around it. I would probably invest where the Hurricanum is into like more longer range shooting. So some of the rocket blasters that you guys mentioned, I had a look at them today after watching the video, and I was like, they are epic. And I would, if I was running a similar list to this, I would run like a unit of 4 of them. I mean, like 4 of them, like just because D6 damage is pretty good for the amount of shooting it does, and shooting in like the shooting phase is pretty good. So yeah. So it's a cool list. It'll be really strong with a lot of matchups, but like there are some matchups out there where it will crumble quite easily.
What do you think that matchup wise? What do you think its biggest weakness is?
Getting long range shooting is for one, and armies with good armor save that have like rerollable. And so, for example, again like Sylvaneth or Stormcast now with the Storch Defender. Yeah. And well, it's an order army, so mortal wounds as well. So that's when the Zeech come in. Like a Gaunt Summoner will go nuts over this in the magic in the hero phase with the like, since it's larger units and they're all one win models, so it will just take them out straight away. And all what will be left with is just a General and Griffin that will be shot by Skyfires. So I think Zeech will definitely be its weakest. I mean, like it'll just crumble straight away. So yeah.
Okay. And Pommy?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, the guys have pretty much touched on most of the things. It's decent. It'll certainly do well against some armies. Any kind of combat army that's running towards this, like a Bloodbound army or even an Ironjaw's army, is going to really struggle because those front kind of guys of just your normal guard with your swords and shields can just string out in long line, and then that's when all your shooting and your Hurricane and all your buffs come off because they have to come to you. But against any army that's got range more than 20, when you factor in the 16-inch range of all those handguns and the move, then you're just going to get like outshot. So I think Clint is probably right in terms of the Hurricanum. Yes, it gives +1 to hit, but in an army where you've already got so many +1 to hit buffs, you're pretty much hitting on 3s or 2s. I don't think you necessarily want to spend those 400 points there for an 18-inch range shot. I probably would have gone for a Luminarch instead if you wanted to take something from there, because you then get a 30-inch gun that's damage 6 to start with. It will also give all of your guys a 6-up ward save, and it also has a spell which is good against hordes. So when you're coming up against high model count, you've got a way of kind of dealing with them. Plus, it would free up 140 points elsewhere. But it's cool. If I'm honest, whenever I looked at Free Guild and I kind of wrote some lists with it, I'd always take the Free Guild Regiment, to be honest, the big battalion from the Grand Alliance Order book, because it builds in a +1 to hit. Basically, all you have to do is have another unit within 6 inches of another unit, and they both get +1 to hit, and they can move. So you get the bonus of the Hurricanum, but you don't have to have a static model that can die. You get it in a battalion that you can't lose, which also reduces your number of drops to almost 1, and you get an extra artifact. So to be honest, I'd probably have gone that route, and you'd have chucked in the 2 units of kind of Outriders or Pistoliers, which would give you some more kind of high speed guys to go and snag objectives if you needed to, and the shooting and stuff from them becomes pretty decent with their like blunderbusses when they're getting those +1 to hit bonuses. So, but it's all right. But yeah, I think it's a bit of a 50-50 matchup. Anything that's built for shooting will beat this, and anything that's built for combat will probably struggle.
Cool. Bryn Shady, what about you, brother?
I just really like the aesthetic appearance of it. You know, you've got 2 generals, and then you've got 2 companies being led by those generals. I'm not exactly 100% familiar with Age of Sigmar and the rules, other than just being smeared by a mass amount of handgunners. So the fact that there's not like 50 million handgunners on the field is, you know, it's nice. I like it. I think it'd be a good composition, and I'd be really keen to see how it played out. It would really depend on how a person deployed this force, I think, as to how well they would do on the field. If I was playing it, I would probably wouldn't go so well, I'm gonna be honest. But
that's
I think someone more confident would definitely have.
Darkness player though, and
yeah, well, everything just goes forward and attacks. It's easy. This is like stuff does things other than just slaughter stuff. So,
well, I like the list, and I try my best not to be biased, because I've got like nearly 5,500 points, I think, in total of free guild. Also, Matt McCardle is in chat, has said replace the Hurricane with a steam tank and a wizard. That's not without merit. I do like the steam tank. I can think of a few better options, but that would definitely be pretty damn rough to go up against, that's for sure. He also said drop a unit of the great swords to 10 and swap the halberds for swordsmen. So if this was my list, I think it's a good solid sort of jack of all trades, master of none list. I'd probably there's requirements for the great companies, and I'd probably take the minimum that I had to of the guard. I would give them halberds personally, because I just think they perform better on that initial attack, and I'd be taking as many handgunners as possible. And I understand the Celestial Hurricanum being in there, because it's always been a staple, right, guys? Like, how often do you guys see a Hurricanum go along with free guild? Like, it's a lot. It just seems to be a given these days. But with an army like this, whilst it can be strong against like battle shock and things like that, it isn't always, especially when you've got everything in this list except for your generals is a 1 wound model sort of thing. You're going to lose a lot, and you're still going to cop battle shock. I would probably drop the Hurricanum at the moment, because I'd be taking a lot more handgunners, and I'd probably spend those points. I'd probably spend them on liberators, if I'm honest. Like, can you imagine maxing out those handgunners and taking 15 liberators? It's going to take you a long time to get through 15 liberators that are strung out in a line, and 40, 60 handgunners behind them, popping off shots at 16 inches range with Ren 1. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 3s or whatever it is. Yeah, I can definitely see what you guys are saying. And I'd have to agree with every single one of you. I think you're pretty spot on there with it as well. So the overall feel then is what? It's a pretty reasonable list. It's not going to win a GT. It's not going to be best against everything, but it'd probably do the job for 50% of the tables you chuck it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be mid tables once you put it into scenarios. It just doesn't have the across 3 or 4 objectives and keep all its strengths. It's all well and good when in the kind of The interesting thing is it would be a very good army for something like Knife to the Heart, where you're back or like Take and Hold, where you've just got basically the center of the board and it's here and there, because you can essentially hold on one and push your other company forwards to take theirs, and you can keep all your synergies. But scenario where you've got to spread out, it just won't.
Well, as a Clint, you play a lot of death, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
How would you, as a death player, beat that? What would you think? What would you take to, if you knew that's what you had to go up against?
Borrow Liam's army.
Wow.
Kidding.
Okay. Basically, you're going to want to. Death has no shooting, so the big flaws or the big sort of weaknesses in that list, Death isn't able to capitalize on. So I like the thought of running a Mongol or two at it for those lovely neg ones to hit, because that way you can put it at either side. You've got two lots of handgunners there, so you'd probably try and throw one at each lot, just to keep that neg one down. And they're not going to give a crap about the rend that the handgunners are pouring out or anything like that. They will eat any of those sort of infantry models. It's just what they do. As far as other stuff, you kind of want to try and get across the board fairly quickly. So
zombies won't do it then?
Zombies are not your friends in this particular game. But you got to take something.
Unless you summon them.
Yeah.
Unless you summon them.
Yeah.
In their backlines. Yeah, I suppose.
Or no, even in front, just to turn one, put them 9 inches away. Next turn, you can summon 20 more behind 9 inches away, merge them. You've got one big unit.
Just sitting there, being ignored by all the shooting. I think was possibly a better option.
Yeah.
They for 60 points for the 5 of them. There's still 10 wounds, and they have a better save. They just come. So, but they're quick though, and you could probably put them into different units without worrying too much.
Yeah. Okay. And Luke, if you had your choice of racks, what army would you throw up against it?
I'd probably just play my Clan Scryer against it.
Oh man, he would just finish deploying and then he has to remove all the models.
It would be painful for him, yeah, because he'd just have to take it all up after he'd set it all up, because it just does mass mortal wounds, and then I'd charge in, and all my attacks are rend 1, no rend, but damage 2. So any saves that he does fail, he's losing 2 dudes for as well, and it's 4 attacks per Storm Fiend per unit after the 63 mortal wounds that the unit puts out. And it can pop up directly in combat if I want it to.
So you don't get shot at.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the Great Companies only happens in the charge phase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they do have the stand and shoot, and they do have the benefit
but they're
of
not
having
shooting
a wiper.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll get 1 round of it.
Yeah, they get 1 round, but they're not shooting twice, which is the scary part about the Great Company and the handgunners.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'd
I think you're
probably
right
take
there.
1 unit of combat fiends as well with shock gauntlets, because the explosions would just start getting rid of those larger units from the 6s or more to hit.
Luke, I'm going through a really bad memory lane right now. Hearing about this.
You don't like shock gauntlets, do you?
Oh, I don't like any Clan Skyer Storm Fiends.
I'd love to see a bunch of the Doom wheels just go rolling through. I just think that'd look really cool.
It'd look cool, but they might just do nothing as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always that chance. But that's what's good about them as well, is that they're like, hey, we could do heaps of damage here. Or we could just fuck your day up and die. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's
love
pretty much Gavin.
yeah. And Liam, if you had to brush your fringe aside and take some tree people, what sort of force would you take?
Oh, just after that comment.
I'm sorry. Could you do that one more time just so everyone can see that you've painted your fingernails black as well?
Anyways, I would actually, to be honest, this list, I would actually run, even though I don't want to, again, I would actually run my Dead Watch list.
Oh, yeah.
As my Flesh Cheetah Court one, which did really well at a tournament or a team tournament, where I actually had people complaining about it to me. And I think that army there would make the guy, whoever wrote this list, go in a ball and cry. Because he will just be like, cool, I'm shooting you. I'm like, cool, great. All this stuff that you just shot, it's coming back next turn. And due to the high movability and stuff, and also, what's the bravery usually for free guild? Like 6?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm doing 4 mortal wounds plus D6 in the shooting phase.
Fuck that.
And also
wow.
And also Battle Shock, it's the -2 bravery, so they're like guaranteed losing like 4 already plus D6 for my Dead Watch.
That is rough.
And then so they're dying while my stuff is dying, but it comes back, and they're just like, cool, what can I do about this? I'm like, nothing. So,
dude,
yeah.
Holy crap! Are you going to CanCon, by the way?
Yeah, get excited.
What are you taking? Are you taking your hippie?
I have 3. Oh no, I will have 4 armies to pick from.
He's taking his emo trees.
Emo trees.
Or his tree revs with their long hair.
Yeah, I'm a tree rev in the flesh. I have really bad memory loss. But like that will be like the list I would bring to it. With my Sylvaneth, I would actually run my Narut list with just 2 units of Cone of Hunters with bows.
Yeah.
And just be like, cool, I'll just be here shooting you. You come to me. But while you're coming to me, you're also like getting hit. And also I have a Dirthu that's like rerolling the hit and wound, doing 6 damage output. So yeah. I wouldn't have any issues with this list.
Yeah, and on top of that, he would have to come to you because you'd outrange him. So he doesn't have the ability to sit back, turtle up, and say, "Nah, I'm gonna weather out the storm," because you'll win. So those free guild are gonna have to move.
Also, his Ren 1 is gonna be completely like negated by me being cover.
To be honest, I was gonna say one of the big issues with this would be it would come up against something so common in the meta as well, which is a Tree Lord Ancient in a household with Briar Sheath.
Yeah,
because
2 up rerolling save.
Gnarled Warrior, 2 up save, rerolling ones, ignoring rend 1. It can heal, and they can't retreat from it. He can stand there all game and just tank his whole army pretty much.
You know what I would do, Chris? I would actually not even take Briar Sheath. I would actually take Moonstone, teleport him over to the other side, and just charge him in, like, because it's a 4-inch charge, so he'd just be guaranteed charging in, and just tag the whole entire Great Company. So for the whole entire game, he has to take down a 12-win model that has a 2-up rerolling save 1, ignoring Ren 1. So he's not going to do much. So yeah, so if he goes up something like that, he's not going to have a good time either.
That's rough, man. That's rough. You would be holding back then. Chris, What about you, mate? What would you take?
I think an army.
Well, my current stuff, the 30 lib Vanguard wing, my list would be pretty horrendous for this because, again, I don't have to charge, so none of his charging, standing, shoot happens. I can just set up in combat. My variation of the list has got a Hurricaneum as well, so I'm getting my +1 to hit buffs. I can do mortal wounds to his general, the one that's giving him 3 +1 to hit and +1 to wounds straight away, because I can teleport my Hurricaneum in, so I can outrange him by effectively moving straight up the board, because I'd use a Relictor to Lightning Chariot it in place. And then I can bubble wrap all my stuff against any of his combat charges. I can position my Liberators to wrap around. I've got Judicators in that can start shooting at his guys. If he tries to protect them, I can shoot through. And then I've also got 3 units of prosecutors as well with their damage 2 that will be hitting through. So I'd be fairly confident my kind of Stormcast Vanguard wing list that I run at the moment would probably do fairly well against this, because it's got the mobility to also compete in scenario play.
So, sorry, with your Vanguard wing list, are you taking, did you say you're not taking a Star Drake?
No, I don't take Star Drake.
Got you right here, buddy. Right here.
Hey, Chris, what did the Star Drake do in our game?
I don't know. I've never taken a Star Drake.
Liar.
No, I've never taken a Star Drake.
You had, you know what, this is a conversation for another day.
That's pretty impressive for somebody who just said that they've got memory loss and couldn't remember some other stuff.
I have
sounds like
one game. There's one game that Chris and I have only played. I remember it so well.
Oh, you're talking about my plant pot proxy.
Yeah, that one. The
That
Dreadsaurian that looks like a Bulbasaur.
Yeah.
What?
All right. Brynley would take Slaves to Darkness, all the slaves. No doubt about it. I don't even need to ask you, Brynley. You just smash a whole bunch of chaos into him.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've got 1 tactic and only 1 tactic, and that's everything forward into close combat. And
you'd make a good alt player as well.
I'd be all over it.
Double Maw Crusher.
I would
I'd
take my Nurgle.
Because it's durable.
And I'd take my Nurgle because I know they've got the survivability to walk slowly across the field and then munch them up. I just think it'd be fun.
How does Nurgle go for Knife to the Heart or Take and Hold? Do you guys get there?
It goes slowly.
It
So
it goes.
5, you just made it to the deployment zone.
Yeah, but in this instance though, this is just last man standing.
Yeah.
I don't need to worry about. What was that?
Turn 10 goes up to 10 turns.
It may need to with my Nurgle. But all right, let's have a look now. I'm going to switch over to Tom's list, who had an interesting one because he brought the Rune Sun on Magmadroth, with a bunch of the Volkite Berserkers, Rune Smiters, a huge Arcanaut company with some Endrin Riggers, the Aether Chemist, and then he brought a Knight Osiris as an ally. So I'll switch to this list now, and we'll go backwards this time if it's all right. We'll start with you, Chris. Yeah.
Yep, sure.
Alrighty, so this is the list in question.
Yep. It's cool. It's pretty decent. It's got loads of bodies, and they're resilient bodies. Those berserkers having their kind of built-in 4-up ward save is going to be really tough to shift. I notice he doesn't have the I want to say Rune Father. No, Battlesmith. What am I talking about? The Battlesmith, which you'd normally see if it was a pure Fire Slayers list to give those guys reroll saves. So they're not going to be as durable as they would be in a kind of pure Fire Slayers list. But he does have the kind of flat out immune to battle shock from the Rune Sun on Magmadroth, which would help keep those guys sort of stick around. And they do have a 4-up save once they're in combat, so 60 of them, making sure that they can't get shot until he needs them, because they're both getting tunneled with those 2 Rune Smiters, is pretty decent. He's got mortal wound output, which is important from just charging in with those sling shields, so that's pretty decent. The Rune Sun on Magmadroth himself as well be a bit more resilient than you probably expect with that Phoenix Stone, now that it heals in both players' hero phases. So you essentially heal.
Does it just?
Yeah, so you heal 2 wounds a battle round now, which is pretty decent. And then the good thing that kind of gives it the balance is he can pop them up in his opponent's zone, have bodies on their objectives, or just pin them in, hold them in place, while those 30 Arcanaut Company just go to work. And those 9 Skyhooks with the Ether Chemist buff getting 18 shots will be pretty tasty, especially if there's any damn terrain near him, because he can happily take, even if he rolls 3 on the mortal wounds for damn terrain, to take that +1 to hit, he can keep it so that those Skyhooks are the last 9 models in that unit, and he won't care that he's losing 3 guys a turn. So that would be pretty horrific, especially for shooting out kind of heroes and monsters. Getting the extra +1s to hit and wound, to hit, would be pretty nasty. Because just any Rend 2, anything with Rend 2, especially if it's shooting, is just so strong. And having mass shots as well, kind of 18 shots a turn, is just so powerful. And that D3 damage is really gonna whittle through those kind of gunners in a kind of, obviously in this matchup, but against anything he'll make light work of it, really. And then he's got the mobility and again combat output this time around from the Engine Riggers. 9 of those, if he wants to buff them up with the Chemist for a turn. Those saws again, 3s and 2s, Rend 2, they can go in and do a lot of work in combat. So it's really decent. And the Azeroth is a great level.
Rend 2 D3 damage, aren't they? The sword?
3s to hit, 2s to wound, Rend 2 damage D3. So I know he's got 2 grapples as well, so he's got a 75% chance of making the grapple shot across the table to give him super mobility and just grapple onto any kind of target he wants. So I mean, potentially if Paul or whoever the player was kind of underestimated things and left him a space, he could grapple straight onto the Hurricaneum. Or could he not? Is it 12 wounds?
He can.
Is it 10 wounds? No, the Hurricaneum's only got 11, and it has to be a model with 12 wounds, doesn't it?
Oh, then he can just do it.
With the wounds characteristic of 10 or more, I think it is.
It's 10 or more, then he can do it. But if it's 12, then he can't.
Yeah. No, it's 10. It is 10.
Okay, so yeah, he could potentially just grapple straight to the Hurricaneum, take that out in one go. 36
yeah, and it's within 24 inches as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's outside the range of the handgunners.
Yeah. So he can sit there safe. He can basically fly forwards 12, go for the grapple. If it fails, he can't get hit back. So he can't really lose, because if it goes off, then great. If it doesn't, then he's not in any danger. And yeah, he'll just outrange with those light skyhooks all game. And the Azeroth is just a perfect spend for 80 points to just make that shooting more and more accurate. And yeah, as soon as someone closes in on all those Arcanauts as well, as Tom kind of said in his list, all those pistols will go off as well. So he'll actually increase his firepower dramatically. And the Engine Riggers do a lot of shots too. I think they have 2 or 3 shots each as well with those pistols.
Yeah, 3.
So that's 20 odd shots there just from the Engine Riggers. So yeah, it's quite a decent list. It's got resilience. It's got lots of bodies. It's got the ability to deep strike. It's got range shooting. It's got high rend. It's got mortal wound output. It's a pretty well-rounded list. The only thing is the heroes aren't the most survivable. He's only really got that Magma Droth that you can kind of rely on for any sort of resilience. But
yeah, well, the Chemist is only what, a 5 wound model or something with a 4-up save, so it's pretty average.
Yeah, the same with those Rune Smiters as well. But yeah, I mean, I guess he's got 5 heroes, so it's more than a lot of lists have, but still.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I like it. It's cool.
Liam.
Yeah, this is awesome. Actually, I just wrote. I have a Kharadron Overlord list build, and just after seeing this list, I've changed it up a bit because I've seen the 30 Arcanaut Company with the 9 light skull hooks. I thought that was a brilliant idea. Also, with Inspiring, it was really good. The 60 Vulcanite Berserkers that get to tunnel up is great. Just having that ability just to tunnel up when you want to is a really good option. And those Engine Riggers, I've said this ever since Kharadron Overlords came out, but that is definitely, the stat line is like the most efficient in the order collection, like hitting on 3s, winning on 2s, Rend 2, damage D3, and they're like threat ranges the whole board. Like they can just go anywhere they want, is pretty powerful. Yeah, there's nothing really I would say is bad about this. Like Chris is right about saying the heroes aren't survivable. However, the chemist is only really there to buff up a unit. So if he's doing it right, he would like just leave him in the backlines and just make sure he's in range just to buff up the units that he needs to be buffed. And the rune smiters are just there to tunnel up units. So once they die, he goes, cool, I am done. Like they've done their job. It's just a bonus that they're still on the table. If the free guild player was actually targeting the rune smiters, I don't know what he's doing there because he has 60 Vulcanite berserkers coming at him. So don't know what he would be doing there. So they'll be alive. And the Magnadroth wouldn't be in combat if he was, if Tom was playing this right, because he's just there to have the inspiring trait around him. So yeah, I think it's a solid list. Out of the two, this is definitely up there as the one that I would be like, even I would find this tough to go up against with most of my lists. So yeah. And the Knight of Zeros, I think it's just a cool bonus, just to fill in those 80 points. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Luke.
Yeah, pretty much what everyone else has said so far. I really like this list. I love things that tunnel and Alpha Strike units, so I love the idea of the 2 units of Volkite Berserkers. I've always thought Endriggers as well since they came out were amazing for their points just with what they could do. The 30 Arcanaut Company I really like the idea of that. I hadn't thought of that before.
Yeah. Never thought of it. And then after seeing this, I was like, boom.
Yeah, like if I ever did a mixed order list, I think I would actually build something very close to this. I probably wouldn't have the Rune Sun on Magmadroth. I'd try and use something else, but yeah, I would build a very similar list to this. I really like it. It's all the combos are there. He's basically just picked like all the best combinations and units within order at the moment, I think, and put them in one list. That doesn't include Stormcast, obviously, but yeah, I really like it.
Clinty boy.
Oh, look, I don't have really that much to add because like Luke said, everybody else has said how it's good. Yeah, I must admit that I'm not sort of as strong on my Fire Slayers knowledge as I probably should be because I have a feeling I'm going to see a lot more of them soon. But yeah, no, I can speak to the Caradron bit that it's really quite strong. And Tom's written a really good list. Want to do. It's kind of one of the things that he is, famous for. Writing really good, slightly left of center lists. But yeah, no, I certainly wouldn't like to fight it. So that's all I've got to say.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go up against this.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Brynley, buddy, have you got anything to add?
Not really. Everyone's done a pretty decent rundown of what's going on. I mean, like you've got your heroes there to be they're doing their job by buffing the 60 Volkite Berserkers that are basically going to be like destroying everything on the table. And you've got your Alpha Strike element, and you've got a couple other bits and pieces destroying stuff. I really like it because I've actually seen pictures of these models and they actually look really mint. Like I'm not a big gamer, but I can appreciate a really nice aesthetic looking army. And yeah, no, it's I think it's good. I think everyone's done a really good rundown. What we've got to say.
Well, I like the list as well. I agree with you guys. However, there's a couple of things that I'm not saying make it bad, but I guess each one of these lists have weaknesses and strengths. The one thing I'm just like, I understand that the Knight of Osiris is 80 points, and it's a great fill, and he's worth those 80 points. But my only concern would be his buff to shooting, the shooting phase, so re-rolling hit rolls. It's re-rolling hit rolls of 1 for attacks made against enemy units that are within 10 inches of the Knight of Osiris. So that guy needs to get within 10 inches of, was it 40 or 60 handgunners?
Yeah.
In order for in order for that buff to be effective. That's a risk, but at the same time, it's only 80 points. So is it really that much of an investment, especially when you've got like the chemist, like you guys said, adding one to the attack's characteristics of one kind of weapon carried by the unit, I think it is. Like that's pretty beastly. The list itself it's one where you're like, I think if I came to a table and that was there, I'd be, my initial thing would be, shit, I brought the wrong army. Like, I don't. It looks like something that would be so difficult to deal with, because you've got movement shenanigans, you've got a decent amount of shooting, you've got all sorts of crazy shit that you're going to have to deal with, and then on top of that, the buffs. How the hell are you actually supposed to get past 60 berserkers and 30 unit of the Arcanaut company to try and get a rune sun off his Magmadroth and kill a chemist? Like, that's going to be bloody difficult.
Gone Summoner.
It is a good list. It definitely, and I'm not a fan of the stunty guys at all, but just looking at it, it's a really good use of 2,000 points, is what I'd have to say. Like, it really is. It's very smart. It would take me a while to actually sit down and come up with a counter to it. But Chris, if you had to counter this, what would you counter it with?
It's a tough one.
Well, in terms of dealing with the Arcanauts and the Endriggers, the high rend, actually death is probably a good place to go, because if you ever play pure KO, Night Haunts are actually, although competitively generally Night Haunts probably aren't up there, they're actually a really good counter to KO because they just ignore all that rend. So like Mongols and stuff are actually really decent against KO, because again, KO only hit on 4s. Generally with like all those Arcanauts will hit on 4s, so a Mongol straight into them is going to really hurt them. If I'm honest, I'd be tempted to take something like one of my Nagash lists that I've written. Nagash, Neferata, just have Nagash ignoring rend from Neferata's spell and just wade him in, because there's basically nothing in this list that can deal with that. Because the one thing with this is they are all squishy. Like, they're all 1 wound models, and once Nagash gets into them, he will just destroy that whole unit of Arcanaut company in probably a turn. And then he can use his spells as well to heal himself back up. And he can just go after the berserkers. You can bog them down with kind of just zombies and chaff and stuff like that. I guess you don't necessarily have to. You don't have to match 30 resilient bodies with 30 resilient bodies if you can just hold them up for a turn or two. So I'd probably just chaff them up with 10 zombies in a line, 10 zombies in a line. And once he's kind of made those charges, especially with the engine riggers, they do a lot of damage on the charge, but as long as you can bubble wrap with just chaff, then you can protect yourself. So even Neferata, if you stick her in a corner, because Nagash would know her spells from anywhere, if he goes for her, you can keep her alive for a turn from the combat from the engine riggers, and then she's got a 16-inch move. She can countercharge, and she on her own could clear off 9 engine riggers, because she's not actually that much of a slouch. So yeah, that's maybe one thing I'd send at this, would be a kind of Nagash death list with some Night Haunt stuff added in, and zombies.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying, especially with the ignoring of rend. Like the other one I think of is Seraphon. Like, they've got, I do believe, the ability to ignore rend of -1, but even then, I don't know if that would be much help, because looking at some of the units in this list, a lot of the rend is actually rend 2. I mean,
I was going to say, KO are actually one of the better armies against Seraphon, because they have rend 2 or 3 generally. So
yeah,
but a Sunblood ignores anything that isn't rend 3. So he could go into some of those units, or a Bastiladon, like Liam said. That would be a really good answer to them, actually.
Just fly him over, charge him in. He can't do much. He doesn't have much mortal wound output, so that Bastiladon's just going to be staying there, being like, cool. Let's
go. Well, I was talking about them with with some of the guys from my gaming group. Not many people are talking about the space geckos at the moment, but shit, man,
It's a lot of talk in Sydney.
they got. Is that with the
It's a lot of talk in Sydney. One of the top players
space geckos.
One of the top players in Australia is a Seraphon player.
Hmm.
And the way he plays them, it's hilariously funny because people just get annoyed at it, but he does a really good job. He uses what their abilities do in really good effect. He found a loophole where Dread Saurian doesn't have the monster keyword, so he found a way to give it a 2-up rerolling save. Because he can go and cover.
It needs to be a big bit of cover, but he can do it.
Oh, mate, I don't know how he did it at Moab.
I've probably got a game tomorrow against them, so let's not talk about it too much because I don't want to give the guy I'm playing, Jamie, any more ideas than all the filthy shit he's already going to come at me with. And what's worse, I am going against him with my free guild because I talked them up. God damn it. All right. Who else have we got here? Clint, buddy. What are you thinking, man?
Oh, mate, it's one of those lists where I would probably just put my hands on my head for about 10 minutes and then wander away. I'm not good at Warhammer. Like, you know, I feel like a bit of a fraud here at the moment. But
you've got the Death Army, buddy. You're good to go.
Yeah, well, it's already dead. And my job is done. Like, I don't have to worry about it dying on the field. I can just say it's dead. I like Chris's idea of the Nagash and Neferata thing. I just think that Tom's list is probably mobile enough to come after Neferata fairly quickly. I do like the Mongols that Chris mentioned for the Neg 1. Mongols are great. We should all take Mongols. Look, I don't think that there's too much you can do in death that's going to do anything but slow this army down, really.
Okay.
And I think I'd have to spend some time. How would I counter it? Because off the cuff, I got nothing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Well, Liam, kill it with trees.
Yeah. So the tree list, with my Sylvaneth, I would probably run a similar list that I would do with the free guild. Just that rerolling save, ignoring some rend. And my first point of contact is to get rid of the stuff that has higher rend than 1. Generally, just ignore that because anything with rend 2, I'm like, cool, you have to go. Another list I would probably bring is my current Zeech build list that I'm running, which is massive. It's Zangor Coven, massive block, about 20 or 30, depending on. So 2 wounds each. That's 60 wounds, and also with a Lord of Change and a Gaunt Summoner on a Balewind, and Skyfires and Enlightened in my list. It will just mortally wound it, being cool. Even though the Berserkers have that 4-up save, that's cool and all. However, I'll be on a Balewind. You guys can't come to me, and your only shooting is from the Skyhook, which is my target, and they don't have a mortal wound save. So just do that, and you got the Lord of Change. If I can just Infernal Gateway it, and then the Enlightened having 2 damage straight out of the bat, Ren 1. Even when it does go through, he has to roll 2 dice to save them again. So it's just doubling up the dice as it goes through. But besides that, my death list would probably get boned.
Fair enough. Also, before we move on, why have you got 2 big swords behind you?
Oh, they were a birthday present from last year.
Excellent. Good answer.
You know how we spoke about SAO?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the 2 swords from SAO.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Go grab
To be fair, I actually have one of those downstairs.
You actually want to see what they look like?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Show us your swords.
I
actually
know sword art online. I'll give you that anime, Liam.
Wait, what? That's something new about Chris.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Liam's wearing pants. He's let down the team.
Disappointing. Look at that.
Clint, looks like it's just you and me, buddy.
Yeah.
Let me just focus
Is it
on
metal?
you, Liam. There we go. Let's have a look here.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
pretty
wow.
badass.
That's pretty cool. Oh, I love that.
So yeah. And then I also got my mates also grabbing the Attack on Titan swords as well. So yeah.
Oh yeah, the flying Stanley knife.
Yeah, that one. That looks so
Yeah.
awesome.
Luke, what would you take against Tom's list, man?
I'd probably take a mixed chaos list with like 90 plague bearers, 3 units of 30, and then as like,
Fuck, that is disgusting. Ladies and gentlemen, get out your movement trays for Luke's dirty fucking list.
I'd also run Cunning Deceiver, so I was -2 to hit for all that against all that shooting for the whole first battle round.
-3.
Great on clean one, and then just as many Skyfires and a Shaman as I could fit in to fill out the points. Either that or a Gaunt Summoner on Balewind as well. Actually, yeah, you'd probably want to put one of them in as well in the mixed chaos.
Yeah. That'd be brutal.
You could just take.
Can I just put this out there for you guys? What about? I'm thinking movement shenanigans here. I'm thinking the what are they called these days? The Wood Ranger fucking leave on any edge of the table and piss off
Tree Revenants.
Wanderers, or
Wanderers.
Yeah.
What do you think the Wanderers would stand a chance against a list like this at all?
Probably not. Too
No.
squishy.
They'll get just removed.
And yeah, no.
Same with
And
tree red.
It
they've
would
got too
depend.
many models. They can deny you coming onto the board.
This is true.
So it would depend who goes first, because actually Tom's list is not a low drop list because he has no formations. So he's got about 10. He's got about 8 to 10 units in the army. Wanderers, you can take the entire battalion. So potentially, if they could and they could go first, and Tom leaves both the units of Volkites tunneled off the board, then yeah, the Wanderers could pop up, shoot off a load of the KO stuff, so that wouldn't be so much of a threat shooting wise. And then it forces Tom, does he want to tunnel up on a board edge, knowing that the Wanderers can just disappear to another part of the board, and once he's tunneled up, he's really slow and they're not. So it potentially could.
Okay, and what about something like let's just use Doom and Darkness for a second here. What about a few pineapples and a whole bunch of piggies?
Am I the only one that's like really confused on what he means?
Gore Grunters and War Crushers.
Grumpy cabbages and gore grunters.
Grumpy
Yeah.
cabbages.
Right. Like Gore Fist?
Yeah,
They'll get removed.
something that has the movement in first turn to get across and kill the KO. Again,
Yeah.
Liam, if it's Gore Fist, he's going to outdrop him, so he can choose to go first. And
Yeah.
3 units of pigs could probably hurt those KO.
I would, instead of just doing a normal mega boss, I would just do Gordrak 3d6 charge.
Yeah, but aren't those pigs getting like 14 inches before the game
15.
even fucking starts?
That's what I'm saying. They get a 15-inch move plus 9-inch plus charge. So yeah,
Plus the destruction move.
I honestly think a lot
they
of them
don't get
come
that anymore, Liam.
Yeah, they're doing a 4-up. 1 piggy goes 6. 1 piggy goes 6. Yeah, I could say it, but you just have to do, like, when you get the charge for all 3 of them, you would hope get enough damage out of it.
To be
Yeah.
fair, a unit of 3 does a lot of attacks. Each pig does 4, so that's what, 12. Each rider does 3 or 4. So every unit of 3 does about 25 attacks. So even just the minimum of 3 threes, it's not a big investment of your army, and it's doing like 75 attacks. So they probably would do a pretty good job, and most of the attacks are 3s and 3s. And especially if you took Gordrak, like you say, you're adding an extra 4 attacks per model. So you suddenly add that on, they could probably run rampant, yeah.
Yeah, and not to mention there's a fair few wounds there as well that they can cop. So,
Yeah.
All right. So I mean, it would be very situational, and it would come down to those drops as well, as what we're saying here.
Yeah, and I think that's cool actually, because a lot of people seem to have, with the new battalions and stuff, think that one drop or low drop armies aren't really a thing anymore, but I kind of think they're still really important, because a lot of these other armies that people are writing, taking that out of mind, any army that is built around going first and having low drops actually are the ones that can deal with this sort of thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, gentlemen, we've spoken about both the lists. It's time. Brynley, get your pen out, buddy. Old school, on some paper here.
I'm not even kidding. I'm actually using a crayon.
That is consistent with the level of professionalism everybody has come to expect from our show. This is why we do it. All right. Clint, I'm going to start with you, mate. Free guild, Paul, or stunties, Tom?
As much as I'd like to give it to the free guild, because they're awesome, I'm going to have to give it to Tom. It's just a better all-round list, I think.
Cool. Yep. Cool. All right, and Luke?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to give it to Tom with the mixed order list as well. It can compete in more phases of the game, and yeah, board denial and all that sort of stuff as well. It's definitely a stronger list, I think.
All right. And Liam?
Tom. Don't even need to give a reason. Just Tom. Sorry, Paul, is it? Yeah, sorry. I'm not sold on the free guild list. More sold on the stunties, as you like to call them.
I can hear Paul rage quitting from here.
So, all right. So, no reason at all for picking Tom from the Veronica's boyfriend.
To be honest, it's generally because. Oh, I'm so glad I'm on the show to be the kid that gets bullied.
Is it, Liam, do you feel like Clan Filth may have, ahead of time sent in a few little pieces of dirt to just throw in at you throughout the night?
Anyways, just the main reason is it is a more all-round, and even if you decide to put scenarios, and even though it's just not just a kill-off, in all scenarios, that list will compete. And the fact that all the guests here have said that they would struggle against that list, and I'm pretty sure we're all pissed off that we didn't even think of this list before. How do we not think of anything like this before? And now this list inspired me to build up my Caradron Overlord list now. And from what I've seen, from what Chris has sent, also inspired him to do a Caradron Overlord list. So to be honest, I just can't. This list is literally going to be inspiring all of us to do something similar, because it is just how the fuck did we not think of this?
Yeah.
So yeah,
fair enough.
Tom,
and I think that's really cool that that a silly fun little segment like List Off has made people go, holy shit, that's fucking brilliant.
Mate,
so,
it's how do I honestly
assume then that you're also for the KOs, or?
Yeah, it's just because
my vote doesn't matter now, so I feel like I can just not say anything, not annoy anybody.
Come off it, mate. All right.
I came on to give my opinion, and unfortunately, as much as I'd like Paul to get a vote, my vote has to go to Tom as well. The list will just perform better across scenarios, and it will deal with more threats, I think, than the free guild. The free guild is not flexible enough, in my opinion, but I still think free guild are really cool, and more people should be writing a list with them. I just think people should look at the formation.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think take everything that Chris says with a grain of salt, because he is British.
Yeah.
So is that half a mark?
Yeah, he only gets to give half a point. No, well, in Chris's defense, though, he has got a really short haircut. I call it the convict cut. So he is ready to jump on a ship and come over to Australia and be with the rest of us. He's almost there. So
I was trying
sorry, I think we cut you off earlier. You had something else to add, Liam?
Yeah. Again, it's just, yeah, this list is something that we've all like just pretty much all now thinking like, how do we not think of this before? And like, just don't get me wrong, like the free guild are quite strong. I would write a list a little bit differently though, like more longer range. That's generally the only criticism. It needs something that can, like, when it comes to first turn, all you can really do is hero phase, move. Yeah, cool. That's it.
Yep.
Like,
yep. Okay.
like cool. Like that's your turn.
Put
Wow.
some crossbows in.
What?
Just put some crossbows in. Even if it's 1 unit of handgunners, 1 unit of crossbows. You get to double shoot. You get to double shoot, and you increase your range.
Yeah. So just going cool, and that's like the end of the turn. Like your turn literally lasts for about a good 6 minutes. It's almost as long as me and Luke's game at RCGT.
It was a bit
You
longer
heard
than
it here
that.
first, guys. Liam only lasts 6 minutes. That's a little bit disappointing for a guy with such a big sword. But there you go. So, Liam, we got to get you on more, mate. This is great. What do you?
That's what Clint says. Clint says the exact same thing.
I just like Ryan's just happy that he's got all these extra victims on tonight. Like, just goes at Brynley for 2 hours, and it's like, no, frick victims.
Dick variety.
Yeah, Brynley needs more hugs than less Ryan at the moment. So poor guy puts up with so much of my shit. I keep just rocking up at his place, and I'm like, hey, did you paint this?
It's like, fucking what? What do you mean you want to change the whole scheme for your army? What do you mean you need to build this?
Hello
What's wrong with your
would be fine. Thank you.
Hey, Clint, have you ever had a client like that before?
What's this?
That decides to change the color scheme, or just decides to give you more models out of nowhere? And like the power just gets bigger and bigger.
That I do have a painting client where the pile gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the lists keep changing. Yeah, I do have a client like that.
Like, what a prick! Like, what a prick!
What a dick. Him and Ryan should be friends.
That reminds me of a funny joke, Brynley. You want to hear it? You ready? Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Go fuck yourself.
I've got wait. I got a joke. Okay, so
it's too late. It's too late. Just pull that condom down over your face and shush. Yeah. Gentlemen, before Brynley gets a word in, because it's been hard to shut him up all night. I just want to say a big thank you to the 4 of you, and to anybody who's watching. The guys that we've had on tonight are from your community. So down there in Sydney, we've got Brisbane guys. Clint, you're in Toowoomba, I believe, which is basically just Brisbane but nicer. And finer.
Brisbane but up a mountain.
Yeah. Sorry, when I said higher, I mean like heights-wise, not yeah. Well, probably both, but whatever. And Chris, it's really where the hell are you? Because I'm pretty sure you're not in Britain.
Huh? No, I'm in Sydney.
No one's perfect, mate. I'm sure you're still a nice guy. We won't hold that against you. But I really appreciate you guys coming on tonight, because I do follow a lot of you quite closely. Not suspiciously closely, but just close enough.
Close enough to warrant it. Yeah.
So, basically, I guess I just want to encourage everybody out there to support your community. Get to CanCon for starters. Clint, that's fucking amazing, man. What you're doing for the community. So thank you very much to you. And for anybody who's living under a rock and doesn't know anything about CanCon, where can they go?
If they're wanting to play AOS, which they should, they can go to calltheglory2018.com. and all the details are there, links to ticketing, all that sort of stuff.
Cool, man. Cool. Thanks a lot. And Chris, Mortally Wounded, before we end the night, where can we find Mortally Wounded?
Facebook, Mortally Wounded on Facebook, or you can follow me on Twitter at Wounded Mortally, because some a-hole had taken the Twitter name and then not used Twitter for like 5 years. So thanks, person.
Yeah. You know what? We had the same issue. We had to go with AUSHAMMER cast on Twitter because there was some really well, he's definitely made for radio fella with AUSHAMMER as his.
Just his diary that's got like 1,000 pictures of skylines doing burnouts. It's brilliant. I'm like, wow, you are truly Australian, so you can have that name.
And Liam, you're very big competitively. You come up with some brilliant games, and on top of that, we share quite a lot of common interests. But could you just tell us a little bit about where we might be able to find you and the rest of the team?
My Chemical Romance concert.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I thought I'd see you in the Sharpest Lives bloody music video. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to see me, I'll be at the next Blink-182 concert at the front line. But yeah, I'm on Twitter at Liam Burnett Blue, super original. The Clan Filth group, we're actually next year starting, or later this year, starting a YouTube channel, which I'll send you guys when it's up, which will be just like us doing battle reports and sitting down and chatting and just talking shit.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
Because if anyone knows us, we just keep talking a lot. So we don't really have anything, but if you do want to see or like want to meet us, this Warhammer Age of Sigmar Sydney page, we generally go to events like where that Clint run or Welfare run. There's a group of 16 of us now, and we're generally all turn up. So yeah, we're not.
And failing that, you'll also find them in the seated section of any Korn concert, snuggled up next to a photo of Kurt Cobain.
I'm the only one that looks emo. Everyone else looks normal.
Yeah, some of Clan Filth look right preppy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Liam is definitely the odd one out.
I am the odd one out of everyone.
I'm just glad we got the odd one, mate. I'm glad. And Luke, what about yourself, mate? Where can we find out more?
I actually don't have any official, like a Twitter account or anything really that I use too often. I'm a little bit lazy with social media, to be honest. We do have a private Facebook page for the Redland City Wargamers, aka Thunderstrike Brotherhood. Evan runs regular tournaments. He's like the TO from our group. He runs RCGT every year in August, which the Heralds normally promote, and so does Chris on Mortally Wounded. But yeah, otherwise you can catch me down at when Capalbar reopens, the Warhammer Capalbar shop. We normally go down there like every Thursday and Saturday to play, so hopefully it'll be reopened before Christmas, and yeah.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, the Capalbar store burnt down, I believe, quite recently, which is a pretty hard hit to the hobby community in the area. Yeah, I'm glad. So that's coming back up though. They're going to reopen.
Yeah, more than likely. They're just sort of it's in formalities at the moment, but it should be reopened before Christmas.
That's the best news we've gotten in a while. That's really good for the community in the area. And let us know as well if you guys have anything coming up as well. Talk to Brynley or Laura, and would be happy to get on board with it as well.
Awesome.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. I've let the contenders know who's won and who's lost. The response from Paul was a big, large boo.
Wasn't anything else? Wasn't like screw them or anything else?
We can't repeat the rest due to YouTube censorship rules. Yeah. And
send us a screenshot.
we'll probably hear from Tom shortly after he arrives. So I believe he's in transit at the moment. So also, gentlemen, I'd love to have you back on, except for you, Clint. You're not welcome on the judging panel anymore. Mainly because I don't know how you didn't manage to find and guess even one plastic ass. But you will be the contender.
skill that I just don't have. Like, you know.
Just give it to someone else, Clint.
Just Clint, are you up for the challenge?
Yeah, I am. I don't know if I'll do any good, but yeah, I'll definitely give it a shot.
Just put
Excellent.
Luke, Chris, and I as judges, and then
Oh,
we'll
at
see.
AUSHAMMER, we're not about doing well. It's just about doing.
Look, if you do it bad, that's okay as long as you're consistent with it, right? That's how it works, yeah.
So put Manfred in.
Yep. Fucking hell.
To be fair, you can't do worse than Paul now. 0 votes, so it's fine.
Well, in Paul's defense, he did get a vote from Brynley and I.
Yeah.
It was a good list. I'm only joshing.
Only because if I'd have
that's just because
hard.
I think the Free Guild need a bit more love. They've lost a lot out in the with Compendium and all that sort of shit, and lots of people don't bring them anymore. I'd like to see more of them on the table. So, but that's just me. So anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight. We will be seeing all of you again soon. And you're all friends of AUSHAMMER. You're welcome here anytime that you like. Brynley, it was really nice of you to be able to wake up, put a t-shirt and beanie on. Fucking
Tough
hell.
life being me.
You shouldn't have been here on this long. You should be painting my Stormcast, but whatever.
They're just they're in the metho bath. I'm just stripping them again because you can't make up your fucking mind on a color scheme. So
I told you, Hello Kitty. Anyway, gentlemen,
Amazing.
again, thank you very much. Let's keep in contact. There's still a lot more judging to go, and it'd be nice if now that we know that Clint's competing, we judge him quite harshly. I'm not talking make him cry, but destroy his soul, definitely. It's going to be interesting. I was hoping that that we might be able to get all of you to throw in a list at some stage anyway, and go from there. So again, thank you very much for joining us. Everybody who joined us tonight, who's watching us in the future, thank you very much. Gentlemen, goodbye. Have a good night.
Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, mate. You too.
Thanks.
take
See you.
care.